as Yam prepares themselves to go up against Tuesday, who is also Raz, for those of you who may remember them back in the day. And they are all set and ready to go. So we're going to start off with Sparring Ring from the get-go, which is always nice to see one of our 5 starter stages make an appearance here. A starter stage that we don't often see that much, it must be said, but it is here right and now. But Tuesday with Ribbon Girl on the left-hand side of your screen, coming in with the Dragon and the Hydra, who immediately comes off with a fantastic start against Yam, but is immediately going to get pegged back by the Cracker and the Hot Slap. Both of our participants here using the fire element for their arms, which basically means if any of those hit whilst charged, it will be an immediate knockdown. But again, that's the least of Tuesday's worries, as Yam is just hitting in with so much of the quick utility that Cracker possesses. Just missing on that grab would have probably KO'd if that had connected, but Yam, with such a massive health lead already, finally gets pegged back by the Dragon, and Ribbon Girl finally starting to get that use of her agility to be able to double jump and slide around, but that Cracker is still a fiend to deal with, and is going to punch straight into the chest and give Yam the opening points. Yam on the right hand side of your screen. It is a Ribbon Girl Ditto as well, so there's going to be a lot of this tenacity. 270 from the rush. Tuesday again gets the first shot, but they need to be able to maintain this and also deal with that Cracker. Obviously it is the lighter arms, it is incredibly quick, but also at the same time you do remember that it can be punched through by anything, which is why you see Tuesday bringing in that nade now alongside the Hydra. Hydra just offers that verticality to try and make Ribbon Girl's life that little bit harder in terms of trying to stay in the air. And that nade will just punch through that Cracker every single time it gets deployed, as you can see it doing so. And the Hydra again just runs clean through Yam. Finally does get a Cracker hit of their own, and again that Hot Slap is such a dangerous arm to go up against. That curved arm utility, obviously Tuesday doesn't really have anything if curved of their own. It is just straight up punching with the Hydra and the nade. But so far, Keeper center stage not going to get the purchase they were looking for with the rush. This time round, it's chip damage and nothing more than that. But crucially, Yam can't get any of it either. Gets caught with the grab and sent straight on down. Cracker is going to be denied once again, and it's going to be Yam in critical with 25 seconds left on the clock. And Tuesday off to a pretty nice start here, it must be said, but they are on the cusp of critical themselves, and they know a couple of wayward Cracker hits is going to tip the favor back into Yam's balance. And 10 seconds on the clock. Tuesday gets a Hydra hit of their own now. They do have lead. They get a nade hit as well. Providing they don't get caught by anything else, they should be okay. And thankfully, the Hydra will stop Yam coming in to take that at the end. I think they knew full well that Yam was going to come in with either a last second punch or a last second grab. The Hydra straight into them as a result. Patiently played there by Tuesday. Keeps themselves very much in this matchup, and you're going to see the Cracker being dropped for the Toaster. So a good old standard punching glove carries that fire element still, so essentially the only thing that's not fiery in here is the nade. Both will activate rush, and it will be Yam who gets the better of the exchange. But Tuesday not going to take that lightly, gets a grab and keeps the health somewhat level. So very good call from Tuesday in the end, but it's Yam with the slight advantage. Well, no sooner have I said that, the slight advantage is gone. But that is how quickly these kind of matchups can turn, especially when it is a Ribbon Girl Ditto like this. Both know the character well, both know what their playstyle is and how they want to be able to accommodate that. But it's the slaps that are just curving around Tuesday and making a nuisance of themselves, both again with rush set and ready to go. Yam is in a good position. Forces Tuesday into critical. Tuesday tried to go for the little last poke to try and stop the rest of that coming through, but alas to no avail. But again, using that aerial advantage that Ribbon Girl does possess to get into a good position, get the grab as well. A couple more hits like that will put Yam in a very dangerous position. Now Tuesday does have the rush advantage, but caught by the Hot Slap. If Yam can get one more of those, they'll take the matchup. And this is going to be a very, very nervy end to this matchup. Another grab puts Yam right on the cusp. They're both essentially a hit away. They've got to find something. They do find something. Yam tried to go for that cheeky poke, but instead of finding their mark, they're going to find themselves into the rush. And it's going to be Tuesday who starts with the first point in this set. A very good start from both of our combatants, and already we might be seeing a little bit of a mix-up here. Could you imagine the very first round and we see one of our more consistent players, especially the individual who finished top 3 last time out, being knocked into underground bracket on the first round of Asking? I mean, it was incredibly close between the pair of them, so anything can still happen. It went to the wire on 2 consecutive points. Yam went from having a very strong start in that first point, massive health lead, to just having that pegged back a little bit towards the end. And unfortunately, 2 key moments right towards the end of both of those back-to-back points, just losing it for Yam in the end. But still, great performances from both of these as we go into our first counter pick stage of the day. VoD makes an appearance as the Ribbon Girl Ditto continues. Tuesday on the left-hand side of your screen, the Nade and the Hydra still coming back on out. Yam with the Ram now coming on out alongside the Toaster, so bringing in a different curved arm utility now. And so far, starting off the stronger of the two, another nice little poke with the Toaster. Again, notice the fact that even when they're on that center stage, they could either try and pin their opponent into those respective boxed corners, or they could just fling punches through the barriers, as you can see there, just go straight through them. That's why you have to be incredibly careful, especially with that Ram. Again, a very fiery, high damaging curved utility, but again, it's going to be Tuesday this time who gets the better of the rush exchange. Yam had no purchase on it whatsoever. And Tuesday, despite not having the lead, does at least get some decent damage onto Yam, but on the cusp of critical already. Yam on another level here in terms of VoD. They very much prefer this stage rather than Tuesday, who is just unfortunately fallen foul of a lot of these hits. And the Wayward Toaster is going to give Yam the point. So as we go into round number 2, or point number 2 of round 2, and the Blob is going to come out. So you already saw what it could do. It'll bounce along, and if it does hit as a charged up state, it will just immediately rob vision from your opponent. Just make it a little bit harder to try and hit these hits. And so far, it's all fine for Yam. They're taking full advantage of the little bounce of the Blob. They're not being as concerned about it as you would assume. I mean, Ribbon Girl is a very speedy and very agile character anyway, so able to get around those quite nicely. And the grabs are quite different as well. And actually, that's a very good rush from Tuesday. Despite being into critical very early on, that rush very much brought it back on the high ends of the 300, almost into the 400s, and Yam on the cusp of critical as a result. They will have rush advantage here. They're not too far away from getting this charged up, and they will likely want to make sure they take this point no matter what, so they're going to try and find themselves an opening. Grab, not going to give it for them at this stage, and the longer this goes on, oh, no sooner have I even thought of that line, it is going to be a rush confirmed into the KO for Yam to bring this set level. Like I said, a very good start from both of these players, but Yam very much preferring VoD on the stage. The Blob was a pretty nice choice from Tuesday, not going to lie. Obviously, the grab also accommodates with that bounce, so it becomes a little bit harder to preempt in a way, but Yam took care of that pretty comfortably, although that rush definitely gave them a scare towards the end, because despite all the damage that Tuesday was taking and getting themselves into critical, they weren't far away from dragging Yam down into that with them. So very good performances from them both, but Yam very much preferring the wonderful nature that VoD has. And like I said, that's one of 2 counter pick stages you'll see on our ban list today, the other one being Ninja College. And as for our 5 starter stages, for those of you who just joined us, where we saw Sparring Ring earlier, we're now seeing Buster Beach. We'll talk about the other 3 a little bit later on as we get ourselves sorted for our next matchup. Remember, this is best of threes. Remember, the loser of this will drop into underground bracket. It's all to play for now as we enter the final round 3 of our first best of 3 match of the day. Sticking with our Ribbon Girl Ditto, it's going to be a Tri-Blast coming up now for Tuesday. A lot of explosive tag goodness that Yam's going to have to be very careful of. The Hydra has been dropped, so Tuesday must feel like that Yam is starting to get the better of that. And that's why you see the switch to the horizontals rather than the verticals. Gets a good time grab, yoinks Yam out of the air. Has the unguided roaster for company as well, so higher damaging glove than the toaster that Yam possesses, but at the trade-off that it is an unguided arm, so it's all manual aim from here on out for Tuesday, with the exception of that Tri-Blast. Naturally, Yam is going to get the punch that they needed to rob Tuesday of that rush. That would have been a great chance to turn the tide. They'll at least get the shield up against Yams, but from that exchange alone, Yam is going to be in the better position. Although, having said that, that quick 1-2 exchange from Tuesday quickly brings that health almost level. It just puts Yam on the halfway mark, and Tuesday just about underneath them. Just over 30 seconds left on the clock, and this is where Yam has to be very careful here. The punching gloves are basically being traded out here, so it's really just a question of can the bolts land or will the cracker land instead. And obviously a lot of firepower in this match as it is, and it's going to be Tuesday with the rush first. Now, when will they choose to deploy this? Well, the answer is they haven't. They score the roaster hit and immediately back on down towards the hot pocket. Not sure if that's the place to be. And unfortunately, they've wasted their rush as well. With 3 seconds to go, Yam takes the lead. Comfortably takes that point. Honestly, you gotta feel for Tuesday. But unfortunately, trying to go for the counter rush, it would have been a little bit more ideal to hold on to that for the next point to give yourself rush advantage, especially how close that was, because it means that Yam is probably feeling pretty comfortable right now as the Hydra comes back out for the roaster. Alongside the hot slap, the cracker, ironically enough, has actually been popped away by Yam. So can Tuesday still find a way of turning this back around? Again, both keeping themselves on level distance at the moment. The hot slap just missing this time round, and Tuesday know they've got it all to do. Able to block the grab and block the rush as well. Very good call from Tuesday in the end. Able to have the wherewithal to get that shield up immediately to protect themselves from the upcoming rush. Very well played. And now it's going to be their turn to hit the rush and score with it. 280 damage. They'll take the health lead for that. But can they maintain it this time around? That will be the question as the two fire off from range. Nobody wants to go for those close quarter combats. A lot of arms missing at this stage of the game, but then again, these two are incredibly hard characters to hit at the best of times, and that's before they start moving around like this. Arm wake on the right hand side, that's going to give Yam the impetus to really go in for that KO if they want to, and especially with the rush advantage as well. With 20 seconds left on the clock, that grab almost close, and now forcing Tuesday into the hot pockets, not where you want to be, and a 1-2 combination means that Tuesday is practically a hit away from going down. Just about misses the grab, but the toaster will not be denied twice, and it will be Yam who has to come back from 1-0 down to make sure no upsets happen on round 1, and takes this set by 2 points to 1. Very good start from both of these players, and I'll be interested to see if we do have Tuesday fighting on back from the underground bracket. After a performance like that, they've done very well at that starting position, so I really do hope that we get to see more of them in the future. But that is where their top journey will end for the time being. And for some reason, our bracket thing is not quite working at the moment. So, and it looks like we won't be able to show you the brackets on stream today, I'm afraid. So, if anybody wants to follow along, explanation bracket, so you can see what the results were elsewhere. And it is pretty much business as usual. The top 4 seeds do make it on through to the next round. Yam took out Tuesday by 2 points to 1. Alistair took out Dr. Crits by 2 points to 0. And Grimwood took out Yoshi Bowser by 2 points to 0. So, we are going to have our next stage, our next rounds coming up for you. And it is going to be Grimwood 7-time winner, to take on Alistair in our upcoming semi-final match. It is the first of two. Both of our combatants are set and ready to go as we go straight back to where we left off. It's back to Buster Beach for our opening match in the semi-finals. It will be Twintel on the left-hand side of your screen for Grimwood. Alistair rocking Dr. Coil on the right-hand side of your screen. Grimwood, a 7-time winner. Alistair yet to win it. Has been knocking on the door several times at this stage, desperately wanting that first cup. And they're going to have to take out a very experienced player in the form of Grimwood if they wish to do so. Coming in with that Coolerang, and the Hydra is going to immediately land with that Coolerang. The cool ability pretty much means that Grimwood will lose all ability, all their abilities that they carry. So that slow-mo actress aura is one of those things, as Alistair doesn't quite hit with their rush, but crucially manages to make sure that Grimwood can't take advantage either by hitting at least with the boomerang, sweeps them off their feet, and at least gives themselves the time to just have a little bit of a chill, rest up, completely barrage in with the Hydra. You see Grimwood going for that double nade approach, and again another exchange, but again Alistair gets away with it. Another wonderful little whirling on up. Grimwood might hit with an explosion or two, but crucially the rush rang is landed, and Grimwood as a result gets sent skyward, and nothing that Grimwood can do about it. And obviously remember the fact that Coil technically has 3 arms at her use, although Grimwood is making sure that they do not get pinged down. And what a read on the grab! Able to pick out exactly where Alistair was going to go, gets themselves a disarm, and Grimwood, after all of that, gets the KO as well. An incredibly close matchup, but Grimwood, realizing that that was the way to go, gets themselves a nice good end to that matchup. Like I said, a very good read with the grab in the midst of all of that. Coil has that invisibility on Wake Up, and if they have that shield up for a prolonged period of time, so it makes guessing where they're going to be that little bit harder. So the fact that they got that spot on at the end was beautiful, as Alistair comes back in with the Hydra and the Coolerang. As I was saying about the 3 abilities, it's all randomized, and Grimwood is consistently holding on to that rush until Alistair drops theirs and then immediately counteract it with a rush of their own. So it means that Alistair has to essentially do all of this damage the hard way, unless they can find Grimwood in a spot where they cannot deploy rush at the same time. Roaster is going to find its mark, immediately send Coil right back on down to the ground, and Grimwood has an answer for this at the moment. And rush is set and ready to go, and Alistair cannot take full advantage of it, but it's far enough back to make sure that Grimwood wastes their rush. It's chip damage and nothing more, which will give Alistair the chance to come in and pick up some big time damage. 340. It's that little bit more comfortable now for Alistair, but there's still 20 seconds to go, and an experienced player like Grimwood is not going to be giving up anytime soon. Gets the Chakram hit into a grab, and both are very much on similar health here, but the Hydra crucially does land and takes that little bit of edge away. Stuck into the hot pocket, but again it doesn't matter because the Hydra runs straight through Grimwood, and Alistair says no, absolutely not. Coil got caught with the stun, but Alistair having the wherewithal to activate rush before that grab could land, knowing full well if that grab landed, that would have absolutely have been Grimwood's point. It means that Grimwood does start with rush advantage, coming in with double roaster, gets themselves a grab, and starts us off with a bang. Alistair meanwhile switching on their arms again, keeps the Coolerang, Let's Grimwood just shield up and get their abilities back on track. Meanwhile, Alistair is bringing in that popper as well, so definitely going for that lightweight tactic that we saw in the previous matchup. And again, Grimwood will know that yes, they can punch through that with anything, but crucially, they have to be very careful that it's not wide open and left up for them, especially knowing full well that there will be double of those every now and then, so a lot more to work around. You can see why Coil can be such a force to be reckoned with, and why everybody is trying to plan their matches around going up against the Coil, especially if Alistair is involved. They have been all over the place with the Coil as of late. 40 seconds left on the clock, very close in health, but it's going to be Alistair who is on the cusp of critical, both going for the rush, and ironically enough, Alistair glides straight in to Grimwood's own, and that is going to give Alistair a lot of work to do. 25 seconds on the clock. They pretty much cannot take a single punch, and you can see Grimwood is just spamming roasters at this point. If anything lands, they know it's theirs, and Coil just could not approach. And Grimwood is going to start with the first point. 1-0 in this semi-final. I know a lot of you out there want to see a new winner, but Grimwood would absolutely love to add an 8th cup to their name. But most importantly, they also want to be the one to dethrone Riff. I feel like that's everybody's task at this stage of the game. But back into the fray we go. Both of these again playing everything possible, and like I said, this is what happens when you start to put the time in. I remember talking to Alistair not so long ago, earlier in the week. They were feeling pretty confident, it must be said, but again, it's easy to get confidence about your playstyle, but you know full well that people at this caliber in any esport competition will always look to see what's working, what's going well, and they'll start to plan against it. Everybody has seen the Coil meta start in America and grow the way up the ladder. Everyone's had time to figure out what the strengths and weaknesses are and how to exploit them. And Grimwood starting to slightly do that, but can they hold on and secure themselves another win? Again, back to Buster Beach for these two. Grimwood sticking with the Twin Tail, Roaster and the Popper, so they'll bring in a quick lightweight Popper of their own. Alistair, meanwhile, goes back to the Chiller and the Tri-Blast. So no Coolerang this time round, no Popper either for Alistair. The rush is set and ready to go. Immediately gonna try and pepper on in, and they are not messing around this time around. Immediately flinging in that rush. They'll know full well they'll probably get it charged up as soon as physically possible. Grimwood does have theirs, but look at this already. Having said that though, Grimwood adding a nice little cheeky grab onto Coil, but Coil is not messing around. They want this victory, they want this point, and that is exactly what they will get. A little bit more of a dominant display there from Alistair as they switch things up just that little bit. The Chiller Tri-Blast absolutely working for them, and Grimwood bringing in that Popper had no response for the sheer onslaught that was coming their way. So up into the next point. Grimwood does have rush set and ready to go, but Alistair will not be that far back, it must be said, as the Chakram is going to bounce off the shield. An explosion in mid-air pops Grimwood onto the platform. A direct Chiller hit, but Grimwood says, no, I can just rush through this and catch Alistair off guard as a result. Chakram hit, but it's Alistair who does the same trick as last time round. Gets caught in the stun, but does not allow Grimwood to get the grab. Denies them with the rush and sends Grimwood into critical and arm weak on the right-hand side as well. Chakram does find a hit and at least make sure Alistair cannot continue that pressure. But it's all, you feel like it's only a matter of time, or will it be? As Grimwood again scoring some more consistent hits, keeping Alistair down in the hot pocket area. And a rush or two might change things here, and that's exactly what Grimwood's going to go for, but it's denied! Denied by the Tri-Blast, and Alistair will say thank you very much. That is a point in the bag. That ties the setup one apiece, and ooh boy. fine margins there towards the end. Grimwood knew they had to try and go for that rush, but unfortunately the explosion of the Tri-Blast denies them it in the end. And as a result, it will be Grimwood 1, Alistair 1. Remember, this isn't just to decide who gets into Winners Final. This will decide who breaks in to the top 3. Because the second you're in Winners Final, you're guaranteed to be there no matter what. If you lose, you're only going down to the Underground Final, and you'll finish no lower than 3rd. If you win, well, you're in the Grand Final. And it will be big time pressure all around, especially with Grimwood switching out the Twin Tail for the maximum brass to go up against Dr. Coil. It is the Nade and the Tri-Blast going up against the Tri-Blast and the Chiller. And we have a disconnect immediately. What happened there? So Alistair fully dropping right as the match started. I do not know if that was an internet issue. I don't know if what has happened there. Well, technical issues I guess have to happen at some point. So as the second I receive word as to what is going on, I will be able to update all of you in chat. But as it stands, well, the match didn't properly start, I guess, although having said that, they did lock in characters, they did lock in their respective arms, so I believe if Alistair is going to come back in, if their internet is okay, then they will be sticking with their respective characters and their respective arms for that. So we'll see how that all plays out. But yeah, a very odd position to find ourselves in there. That was unfortunate to say the least. As we just quickly hop on by to the lobby just to give you an update as to what will be coming next. Do remember that this is the first of 2 semi-finals. The other semi-final does involve Riffa and Yam. Riffa, the reigning champion, of course. 7 cups in a row for them. 25 overall. And they will be going up against Yam, who will be desperate to try and make their way into Winners Final for the 2nd week in a row, having made it there. I believe they actually beat Riffa last time round as well. So yeah, very much everything to play for. In terms of the underground bracket, I know Dr. Crits and Yoshi Bowser are down there. That match has not finished yet. Either that or it has not started. I would have assumed it would have started already. But again, once we get results of that, we will let you know. The winner of that match will take on the loser of our other semi-final, which is Riffa versus Yam. So that's going to be a hard match, whatever happens. The loser of this semi-final, which is Alistair Grimwood, they will take on Tuesday, aka Raz, who had a very close match with Yam earlier, that 2-1 thriller in the first round. In fact, the only match in the first round to go the distance, though. That will be interesting depending on who drops on down there. So we'll have to watch this space. We are currently waiting to hear back from Alistair. If you're just joining us, this matchup is 1.21. Grimwood winning the first one, Alistair winning the second. Both pretty much even Stevens so far. Grimwood definitely being able to register a lot more against Coil than I think we initially thought they would. And Twin Tail very much working for them, but Alistair switched up their playstyle a little bit in the second matchup. Finally backing on up and bringing it back into their comfort zone, and that has now forced Grimwood to make the switch to Max Brass as we head on into Temple Grounds once the match does resume. It does mean I can actually tell you about the other 5 starter stages that will be involved with these matchups. Obviously, we've seen Sparring Ring already, we've seen Buster Beach, and now we'll be seeing Temple Grounds. The other 2 stages, the starter stages that we haven't seen yet, are DNA Labs and Mausoleum. Ironically enough, Mausoleum is generally a very common pick for starter stages over the past few months, but it's starting to sort of like dwindle down the order a little bit, which is very nice to see. You generally see Mausoleum coming out in the finals now, and that is generally it. Everything else is open game. The other counterpick stage that we have, Ninja College alongside Viados. We haven't seen Ninja College today yet, but again, that has been popping up in the finals more often than not, mostly because Riffa really likes to play on Ninja College. You could probably guess why. He is a very good Ninjara player. So there will be a time limit as to when they are able to come back on. So if they don't come back on soon, it may be a forfeit. And not gonna lie, that would kind of suck. Because it's always an internet issue with Alistair. It's par for the course. I guess there's just not a Challenge Cup where an internet issue doesn't happen, and unfortunately, it's Alistair for the most part. So, yeah, nothing you can really do about it. I absolutely understand that connection issues like that, they do suck, and it hates for it to happen. But it's like, it's always every event, and you gotta feel for Alistair, you really do. But you know, it does give us a chance to breathe just a little bit. We've had some very intense matches so far. So we'll see. It is actually quite amusing that out of the 7 people that are taking part in today's tournament, only 2 are former winners, Riffa and Grimwood. And like I said, Grimwood is a 7-time winner, Riffa a 25-time winner. And which still feels a bit weird to say that. And it's like, for those of you who are only just joining in, no, Riffa has won 7 cups in a row, and that is unbelievable. Like, nobody has had a win streak like that. Nobody has had a grand final appearance streak like that. Like 7 wins in a row, 7 finals in a row. You know full well that Riffa will just want to keep that record going on and on and on. Okay, so I am getting confirmation that the internet was apparently a disconnect. And we are going to get this match up and running in just a moment. So it will be 1 apiece between these 2. We'll decide who goes into winners final. But yeah, we should be having this matchup resume in just a moment. I've only just realized that the picture here has not updated properly. It should say 73, not 71. Don't know why that's happened. Let's fix that. That's better. So how have I been? I have been... Oof, boy. It's been a rough few weeks, it must be said. Like I said at the top of the stream, suffered with massive burnout. It had been coming. I feel like I felt it was coming, but I tried to keep it away from me as long as I could because I'd had a massive casting spree since the start of the year, and I've been working on a lot of personal stream stuff, trying to get involved with charities, etc, etc, and it's all just very much caught up to me, and just, yeah, I got to a point where I just could not focus on anything. I actually had to tell like 3 different casting groups I couldn't do casting that weekend because I just couldn't do it. I just completely burnt out. So, not been great mental health wise. On top of that, my gender dysphoria has been kicking my butt again. To nobody's surprise. And obviously the stress of vaccinations as well, given the fact that my wife and my mum-in-law have had both of their double jabs. And I am yet to have my first because age and wait times. And then on top of that, sorting out other personal things, and it's been hard. It's been pretty bad, not gonna lie. So I think coping is probably the best phrase I could probably use. Things are starting to sort itself out a little bit, but yeah, burnout sucks. And seriously, please take breaks. There is a reason why you feel fatigued. You need a break. That and some of the stuff that I've been putting out hasn't been as well received as I would have liked it to be, so there's a lot of things that are going on where it's just, it'd be like that. Hope you're feeling better too. Thank you very much, and a massive shout out to those of you who are in the chit chat. I didn't really do my hellos to everybody who had messaged in the chat. So Alistair, I saw you message in there earlier. Saiku, welcome on in. Yoshi Bowser, Teddy Boy, Riffa, Mimo, thank you very much. I think Mimo left me left a message, and thank you for that. Alice in here as well, good to see you. Raziel, Iceman, hope you're all enjoying the action so far. And obviously we've got Arkham in there as well, so thank you very much. You've all been incredibly nice, so thank you. Alright, and it looks like Alistair is about to join back in. So we will get our first semi-final concluded. Web caption. Hey, no, you know what? That'll do. You know what? That will absolutely do. Web captioner is on here just to try and help out with the subtitles a little bit. It's not fully accurate all the time, but they do their best. And I feel like we can all appreciate that. Yep, Alistair is back. So it will be Grimwood to take on Coil in our third matchup of our first semi-final. This third place in winners final will be Max Brass with the nade and the Tri-Blast. It will be Alistair with the Tri-Blast and the windiest of slaps to start ourselves off with a very critical, very crucial third match in the semi-final. And already Brass hiding behind those pillars. Obviously Brass is a very bulky character, especially when they buff up like that. So they'll only really go down to that windy charge slap. Everything else they'll just phase off them. Which is why you see Grimwood try and keep that state as much as possible. And that was weird. Alistair did not get anything with that rush and falls down as a result. I'm going to hawk that down to lag, I assume, as it bounces off the shield. And Alistair not going to get any kind of purchase with that. Gets caught with the grab as well. Alistair just about has healthy, does catch on with the windy slap at this stage. Tri-Blast is not going to happen this time around for Grimwood. They find themselves on the cusp of critical, and obviously with Max Brass, the second they drop into that critical state, they will be dangerous. And another solid Tri-Blast hit from Grimwood means that Alistair 2 times in a row does not get any purchase with that rush at all. Tri-Blast forces them into the corner. Grimwood knows they have a chance to try and go for the KO here. Gets Alistair into critical. They have themselves in the driver's seat, clipped by the slam, but it's not going to matter. It just unfazed from that and fires in with the rest of the explosives to get that point. Can Grimwood secure themselves a second? Alistair is not moving. And I think that might be a forfeit. I very much think that will be a forfeit for Alistair. And with that, I believe that'll be Grimwood through into winners final for sure. Alistair is not moving in the slightest, so that is going to be that. Oh, and Alistair is back moving again, somehow. After all of that, I'm not entirely sure what is going on, but Alistair is playing again. 60 seconds now on the clock. Alistair is very much playing now. Both are going to come out with the rush, but it will be Grimwood who gets the better of the exchange. And Alistair again, another quick little fire on through with the 1-2 combo. Keeps themselves in this matchup for the time being. All of the pillars are pretty much done and dusted in this term. And the double slams again just coming on out, keeping Grimwood at bay. Stuck into that corner, nothing they can really do at this kind of angle as Alistair comes in with another rush. It is going to at least go through the shield this time around. Chip damage for the most part gives Grimwood a rush back, and Alistair again cannot find the punish with the slap. So nothing that they can do with it. Finds it on the second time asking at the very least. Puts Grimwood on the cusp of critical. Nothing for the grab on this occasion. 10 seconds left to go. They're practically on level health here. But finally, Grimwood takes the lead. Another quick little 1-2 combo means that Alistair is in critical. Alistair has rush. Actually has health lead, I think. And they do. They take the point. Alistair takes a point and ties this up. I have no idea what this matchup is turning into. But Alistair is still fighting. Chip damage again. Rinses through the shield. Grimwood had a rush anyway, so chip damage, relentless pressure. And Grimwood finally comes in. And finally the slap is gonna cancel Grimwood out, who finds themselves on the cusp of critical already. Alistair with a full bar of health. The Triblast not gonna land on this occasion. A bulk up, maximum bulk up for maximum brass as they find themselves in critical position. Alistair stuck in the corner, finally gonna get pegged down. Wakes up to the rush. Grimwood has to shield it. Will it break the shield? No, it won't. Both arms weak as a result. One hit from anything will do it for Alistair, and the hit is there! In the weirdest way possible, Alistair takes this point. I have no idea. I have zero idea if this point is even going to stand. We are having a VAR check with this one. I am confused as heck as to how this is going to go, because Alistair was stationary for so long at the start of that second point. And I am wildly confused as to how this match is ending here, because by all accounts, Grimwood should have probably just put Alistair down right there and then and ended the set. Instead, he didn't. About 20 seconds later, Alistair finally kicks in and picks up 2 back-to-back points to take the set by 2 points to 1. There is a debate and a half happening in the Discord. So I don't know whether I'm calling this as Alistair's win or not. We had all of the shenanigans in that third point. We had lag, we had disputes, we had a false start, I guess, but I genuinely have no idea how this semi-final is actually ending. So, whilst they figure that out, I can tell you that Yoshi Bowser has beaten Dr. Crids by 2 points to 1. So Dr. Quits is out. They will finish in 7th place. Yoshi Bowser will face the loser of our upcoming semi-final match, which will be between reigning champion Revolutionary Riffer versus Yam Jam. Thank you, ma'am. Both of our combatants are set and ready to go. Best of threes, remember. So onwards we go. Reigning champion Riffer to go up against Yam. Looking to try and beat Riffer again in the early stages of this competition. It would be a repeat of the last time's winners final if Yam were to find a way to take out Riffer at this stage. But we will see if Riffer can have their revenge. They didn't take too kindly to that last time around, so we'll see how this plays out on this occasion. Riffer on the left-hand side of your screen as Miss Sango, with Yam on the right as Min Min. And away we go, and immediately it's going to be Riffer who is caught by the Power Soul, sent to the other side of the arena. Bearing in mind, DNA Labs is one of the biggest stages in this game, and gives Yam a chance to get that Perma Dragon Arm up on that Phoenix. Makes it so much harder to punch her through, and already starting very nicely, although Riffer does have that Coolerang and the Cracker. The Coolerang will be great use around these 6 tubes. And on top of that, the Cracker, again, we've seen it time and time again so far today. It's a very quick weapon. So yeah, we'll have to have their wits about them as Riffer begins to go on the charge. Both pretty much having rush at the same time. And you know full well that Riffer will want that yellow mascot where they can. The grab bounces off the tube. Yam was not able to take advantage of the situation. And now they know they cannot rush against Riffer in any shape or form, because Riffer will just win the exchange outright if they choose to do so. Gets knocked down by the Cracker as well, which robs them of the Dragon Arm. And Yam just biding their time. 30 seconds on the clock. They are the ones who have to do all of the work here. And Riffer knows full well that they could just take a nice little exchange. Actually goes for the rush, and Yam tries to go for a counter rush. Does not get any purchase on it. Riffer is too far away to really do anything with that. And also equips that blue mask so that speeds them up as well in the process. And Riffer's actually taking a bit more damage than I thought they had. With 7 seconds to go, finally gets the Coolerang and immediately backtracks all the way to the end of the stage. They know they've got this point in the bag, and that will be time. Both will be on a similar stretch for the rush charge, but it will be Yam who is going to concede that first point to Riffer. And so, off we go again. Riffer with the Cracker. And a self-destruct! They brought out the Seeker, and it was immediately disarmed and explodes in their face. Very good wherewithal for Yam to get that in the early stage. And then that is the high risk, high reward of that Seeker. It's a fully automated arm. It does a lot of damage, especially in its rush form. But it does mean if Yam does get the disarm, they can find a way of making it blow up in Riffer's face. And that's a lot of shock that will just go against Riffer as a result. Riffer already just almost at the halfway mark. In fact, make that just under the halfway mark as Yam scores with another big roaster hit. Really well done. And the Power Soul stopping the Seeky almost right in front of Riffer. Just about gets away with it. And Yam knows full well that they have to try and keep this momentum up. Riffer does have rush, but has seen it blow up in their face again. Another straight up roaster. And Yam will try and hope that they can hold on to this if possible. One more hit's all they're looking for, and they find it. The Siki went straight underneath them. Really good wherewithal for Yam. They drop over the missile and get themselves a KO punch in the process. One apiece and immediately try to go for the rush. They'll at least get some damage. 155. It's certainly better than nothing. Riffa avoided the first swing, but could not avoid the second batch. I think Yam fully knew they wanted to use that up straight away. And Riffa, well, like I said, they anticipated the first batch, but they were not far enough to deflect the second. So another stray roaster hit is going to find their mark. And again, Yam caught out by another quick 1-2 combination. And that is what Riffa is relying on a lot here. If the Kuluan can get the first hit, the Cracker will follow in uncontested. It's how quick that is. Riffa dropping on that yellow mask, making sure that they could charge this rush up as quickly as possible. They are going to lose it out as well now that the rush is up. And a lot of firepower going up against Yam, who does again get a straight hit. The arm is down on the left-hand side. That is going to be big-time damage with the rush. 300 damage. Ironically enough, Yam protects the rest of it as they drop on down. It's still a lot of damage that's gone through. Into critical goes Yam. Riffa on the cusp of critical. And you feel like Yam wants to try and get another hit or two in there to make sure that Riffa is in a position where they can get the KO with that rush, but they're running out of time. 15 seconds left on the clock, and Yam cannot afford to take any more damage. Well, now I say that, one more damage is all it's going to take, and unfortunately they're in the wrong place. Riffa just shields up the entire rest of it. There's nothing Yam can do in that position, and Riffa just patient as always. There's a reason why he's the champion. And just bait it all out. That is a point. And Riffa will lead this set. And so, moving on into match number 2. Between these amazing individuals, Yam definitely was starting to get some form of momentum back onto their side. Managed to get that KO punch, especially in the second point. Very stylistic in the whole build-up to that, but unfortunately just could not bring it back. And interesting to see Ninja College coming on up. Riffa did not pick it, Yam picked it. So they must be comfortable with this stage as well. And Riffa opting to stick with Misango. So both coming in with the Megawatt. And this is going to be a very interesting battle between these two. So both opted for the Megawatt. Riffa is pairing theirs with the Cracker. Yam is pairing theirs with the Revolver. So a triple bolt. It's not like the horizontal or the verticals. They go out in staggered bolts. They also bring up that electrical goodness. So pretty much the only thing that isn't electrical in this matchup is the Cracker, which is rocking that firepower, which generally you would bring into the equation, especially against a character like Min Min, where you do not want that Megawatt fully charged up on that Dragon Arm. It is very dangerous. Like, it's slow, yes, but at that big old state, it's just that little harder to really play around. And you see that Yam, every single time they throw it down, even if it's the exchange. Well, it wasn't the exchange that they were looking for. Neither of them get anything with their respective rushes, but it is Yam with the health lead for the time being. They have that Megawatt still up on the Dragon Arm. And again, every single time that Watt comes out from Riffa, it's another shock. And again, there's so many things that can really trip Riffa up here. And I think they're very quickly realizing this combination is just not working for them. Yam, with 20 seconds left to go, they have the health lead, they have the rush advantage if anything goes sour, but you can tell they're desperately trying to hold on to this for the next 10 seconds. They know Riffa is going to be all over them, and they do have rush, so they could still yet yoink this straight away from them. And in fact, Yam goes for the rush. That wasn't the best idea in the world. It's handed it right back to Riffa, who takes the point. So many times we have seen people rush right at the end when they haven't really needed to. And Riffa is once again going to take full advantage of that situation and yoink themselves a point, and Yam will not be happy with that exchange at all. And now, as a result, Riffa is going to bring out a Coolerang to combat against what Yam is bringing. And again, caught by the Megawatt, and suddenly you just get this feeling that all of the momentum is going towards Le Champion. Another Coolerang hit is going to rob Yam of all of their abilities. And as they hop on down to the bottom of the stage and get that Watt charged up, Riffa is just keeping the high ground, keeping that advantage. And again, another successful hit with the Watt. And that pops Yam underneath the halfway mark, and Riffa has full control of this matchup, it must be said. And Yam, knowing full well they've got it all to do. Riffa's got the yellow mask on as well, so they won't be able to rush against it. They've managed to at least disarm it now. So really, it's can they really go for the rush before Riffa gets that mask up? The answer is, well, no. 30 seconds left on the clock. Rush will come out now for Riffa, and Yam goes for the exchange of the roll. Really good placement. 325, I think that was. They're just about level on health. In fact, Riffa finally goes down against it, and Yam has to be careful. They have health lead again with 10 seconds to go. Riffa into critical, but the champion is never out until it's over. A grab swings it back into contention. Yam just cannot afford to take any kind of damage here, and they don't. They will get a point. Yam gets themselves a point, keeps them alive in this set, but they've got to win this exchange right here, right now. Otherwise, Riffa will be in to winner's final. The Watt and the Cracker comes back for Riffa. Clearly not happy in the end with the Coolerang. They almost won it, but not quite that time around. The red mask is up. They get the hit with the Watt, but crucially can't get anything else. Yam misses with the rush. Chip damage and nothing more than that. It gives them time to at least get the Megawatt fully charged up. But it's going to be Riffa with the advantage. They have that red mask up as well, so just that little extra firepower. But it will be disarmed by the wayward bolt of the revolver. Yam slowly charging this back up. Managed to get a little poke with the revolver, but Riffa again still with the firepower to keep this somewhat level. 50 seconds left on the clock, and Yam able to just throw that revolver out every now and then. Catches Riffa off by surprise, it must be said. They're getting a lot of these bolts to connect where you least expect it. And now Riffa realized that they had to go back the way they came because Yam came in with the counter rush. Neither will get anything from that, but as a result, the exchange still favors Yam. Although that 1-2 punch is going to wrestle it back away from them, and the red mask is always super scary to go up against, and the Cracker is going to put Riffa back in the driver's seat. Having to negate the Watt. Yam quickly backs up and charges it up, but they've only got 10 seconds to play with here, and they're on the cusp of critical. Riffa knowing full well they have full advantage. They're just going to have the totem up, and they're just going to shield. Riffa knows they got this run, and that is time. Riffa will take this set by 2 points to 0. It will not be Yam in winner's final this time round. It will be Riffa to go up against, I believe it's Alistair, in the winner's final. Unfortunate for Yam, they tried everything. But unfortunately, it is not to be this time around. And so, we head on into winner's final. Our first best of 5 of the day. And we have confirmation that it will be Alistair in winner's final to go up against Riffa. And we also have confirmation that the underground bracket, as a result, will be progressing on without Grimwood. Grimwood has dropped So Raz gets themselves a free pass. Into the underground semi-final. They will take on the winner of either Yam or Yoshi Bowser, which will be very interesting to see how that plays on out. But in the meantime, winners final. This is top 3 territory. Where are you, Riffer? There you are, Riffer. Oh, never mind. I think everybody disconnected. That is always good to see. Yeah, that happens. You know, it'd be like that. But yeah, we will be joining in on the action for winners final. This will determine who makes it to Grand and who will have to duke it out one more time to try and get up into that position. Riffer, the reigning champion. 25-time winner and 7 cups in a row, with 7 final appearances in a row to go alongside that. They want to make it 8 and 8. Alistair wants to book their ticket into final in back-to-back appearances. It'd be a controversial way to do it after everything that happened earlier today, but it would still be on the scoreboard. It would still be something to have a look at. And Alistair knows full well it's going to be an interesting journey if they can make it that far. So, our first best of 5. Our 5 starter stages will be banned in their 1-to-1 system, with the highest seed banning first. They will touch gloves, and we will have ourselves some good old fun, as it starts with Riffer as Misango on the left-hand side of your screen. It will be Alistair as Coil on the right-hand side of your screen. It is indeed going to be winners final, starting off at Buster Beach. It will be Cracker and Siki versus the Tribolt and the Roaster. And remember that Coil's ability means that they will have a third arm, one of either of those two at random. And despite Alistair getting that first hit off, Riffer retorts immediately with one of their own. And we know full well there's going to be a lot of this between these two. Another Cracker hit will find its mark. Siki to no prevail, and Alistair not gonna waste any time. 235 damage, and Riffer runs straight into another Roaster hit and another Roaster hit, and Alistair has a lot of confidence right now. Riffer only just has their first rush ready to go now, and Alistair, well, finally getting tagged back by the Siki, and Riffer manages to work their way back into this match, but they've got a long way ahead of them. But a Siki rush will change all of that. 375 damage. It puts Alistair in danger, who says, screw this, I'm rushing, and I will take that point anyway. Now we know how fast Coils can generally charge their rushes up. That really doesn't bother Alistair in the slightest. They'll get that back before you know it. And Riffer very much will be fully aware of that. Actually gets caught by a wayward Tribolt right at the start of that, and the arm already weak on the left hand side, and a massive explosion which disarms them as well. Unfortunate for Riffer, but again, that's high risk, high reward for you. You bring the Siki, you paid the price, and that is exactly what Alistair is managing to do as well, just like Yam did in the previous set. Finally, Riffer gets a punch in of their own, but Alistair from afar, another long-range rush, another 225 damage, and Riffer has the rush set and ready to go now. The Siki will drop at Alistair's feet and do no further damage than that, and whilst being stuck in that hot pocket is generally bad for most, Alistair doesn't mind Riffer just raining on in them, but they will not be able to take too much more of that, because Riffer is just keeping them in there. Finally, Alistair glides on out of there, The Siki just whizzes right by their head, goes for the rush, denies the Siki any purchase, 275 damage, not quite enough for the KO. They need one more hit from pretty much anything, and the bolt just doesn't quite land. With 25 seconds left on the clock, Riffa knows full well they've got to do it all now, but unfortunately they'll slide straight into the tri-bolt, and Alistair will take the first point in the set. No complaints from Riffa, all done fair and square, so Alistair takes the first point in winners final. But you never start to get hope. Never start to think that the impossible will happen, because this is Riffa, and we have seen Riffa time and time again bringing on back from the brink of destruction. It's never over until it's over. But Riffa definitely on the ropes in that second point. It must be said that Siki, unfortunately, was just being met by Alistair time and time and time again with nothing but a shield. And Riffa will take us to Ninja College. It was a counter pick against them last time round, but Riffa laughs in the face of that. If you take Riffa to Ninja College, it's not going to be great for you. Riffa will give you the hardest time you'll ever know. And it's going to be Cracker and the Siki for Misango at this stage to go up against Coil's Tri-Bolt and the Roaster, which we saw Alistair use to great effect in the previous matchup. And you would think that a stage like Ninja College, Coil would just be able to just keep the high ground and just laugh with it, but Riffa knows full well that they can still take advantage of that. The Cracker covers a good wide area as the further it goes out, and obviously that Siki is going to be an ever important threat, and Alistair will know that very, very well. Both with rush set and ready to go, but with that mask up, Riffa knows full well that they have control of the pace, but unfortunately again they can't get any purchase with it at all. Alistair just waits their time, and now they will have control of the matchup if they can land the rush. And, well, this is Coil we're talking about in the hands of Alistair. Most of the times they will land the rush, but they are going to get caught by another 1-2 change from Riffa. And with that red mask of Crypt, they know full well they've got to mask that ASAP, because Riffa will always be just big time intimidation with that equipped. The Tri-Bolt will hit, but it's not enough for the stun, and a Cracker knocks Coil down and gives Riffa control of this matchup. Caught with the stun. Will that be an arm break? Alistair tries to get out of it, but caught by the missile in the end, and the arm is down. It didn't go away, and it gets completely destroyed, and Alistair knows full well that is Riffa's point. Nothing that they could do in that situation. Cracker and the Siki, as a result, will remain as Alistair brings on in the same setup of their own as well. Goes in for the rush, but Riffa gets the shield up, chip damage, and nothing more than that. As once again the red mask comes up, the Siki thought about exploding, but did not, went all the way back. Interested to see what happened there, but crucially, they do at least manage to get some kind of damage done. And Alistair is just throwing arms out left, right, and center, trying to keep Riffa down, trying to keep him at bay. The rush will come out, but they're far enough away, and Alistair gets the block up. Nothing more than that, goes in with the rush of their own, and just glides comfortably around Riffa's attempts to foil them, and catches some damage in the end as well. It keeps that health lead intact. There's still just under a minute left to play here, and 1-2 chains like that can still absolutely turn the tide of this confrontation. A lot of spam between the two, but the explosion catches Alistair off just about. Never underestimate the AoE explosion of that Siki, and it's going to be Riffa who now has control, has the rush set and ready to go. And surely you'll see that yellow mask up, and we do indeed. And Alistair, I think, realized very late that Riffa had the mask up, went for the rush, actually kind of worked to their advantage in a weird way, like it baited Riffa out, and now they have the health lead. Now this is going to be an interesting end to this, and they tried to dash out of it, Instead of shielding, they tried to dash out, and that's practically handed the point on a silver platter to Riffa. All Alistair had to do was shield, and they would have probably been okay, but they tried to dash out of the corner, and that was the last thing they needed to do. And with that, Riffa will score a point and tie this set up. Yeah, that wonderful grab and rush bait switch. I think Alistair must have panicked, realized the grab was coming, but no, the rush was up. And that was all Riffa needed to turn the tide back into their favor. Temple Grounds will now be the pick. It's going to be one apiece between these two. And it's going to be Alistair who starts off with the worst hit. Takes a Siki on the nose. And that is going to give Riffa all the incentive they need to keep this going. Unfortunately, they whiffed on the grab just a little too high. As Coil came floating on down, Riffa just got that grab just that little too high. And not a proper punish that they were looking for. And Alistair knows full well that they've switched that on out. They've got the Chakram now and not the Tri-Blast. Trying to curve around. I mean, at the Temple Grounds, you've got the 4 pillars, and it is a lot more of a wider stage. So it's going to be an interesting one to go through. But it is going to be a disarm again. That Siki again blowing up in Riffa's face. And again, if Alistair can keep doing that, it's going to put a lot more pressure onto Le Champion. And it's going to be the rush coming out. But again, Alistair, why are you rushing with Riffa's yellow mask on? It's the worst idea to be doing. And Alistair finds themselves just over the halfway mark. At least manages to come in with a roaster hit. But Riffa again, just calm and calculated. And another quick little cracker hit to take Alistair down. And finally get themselves a grab. Down goes a pillar. Both very close on their respective health. But Alistair starting to slowly fade. Another quick little poke and actually use that to their advantage. Riffa was not able to deny the grab attempt. And with that, Riffa finds themselves into critical position. Now, can Alistair hold on? Actually went for the rush. And actually gets it. Miss Ango did not have the rush charged up. They had the yellow mask to try and scare them. To try and get that rush up as soon as they could. But unfortunately, it was just too late. They have the rush advantage now. But it's going to be Alistair who takes the first point in this third match. In the winner's final. Riffa tried to go for the Siki, but unfortunately caught by the Chakram. Nothing that they could have done in that situation. And in fact, falls to a close range grab as well. And despite Riffa starting with that rush advantage, not only have they not utilized it yet, they know full well that Alistair will have theirs ready in no time at all. The Siki whizzes on past, but thankfully they get the second volley. And 360 damage to Alistair as a result is Riffa's reward for, again, that persistent nature of his. Alistair, meanwhile, at the halfway mark, and that is going to be a free rush for you. And 295, they missed the finishing punch. They missed the finishing punch. I have no idea how that one happened, but Alistair will have to settle for just under 300 and not just over it. Riffa just underneath half, Alistair bang on the middle, as Riffa now finds himself on the cusp of critical. Make that into critical with 30 seconds left to go. And Alistair just keeping their distance at this stage. They know full well they cannot afford to take too much more damage. The Siki Rush will KO at this stage, but thankfully for Alistair, the Roaster saves the day. And it means that they are 2 points to 1 in winner's final. And so, the winner's final continues in dramatic fashion. Alistair determined to take this set over Riffa, determined to show the world they can best Riffa and send them down to the underground final. But can it happen? Riffa, determined to not make this happen, will take us straight back to Ninja College. Now, will this be a character switch as well. Or are we going to see Misango make yet another appearance whilst we wait for that to be answered? In fact, we get the answer now. It will still be Misango. And in fact, Yam, we've just been told, has bested Yoshi Bowser by 2 points to 0. So it'll be Raz versus Yam in Underground semi-final. This is going to be incredibly interesting and spicy to see how that plays out. But first and foremost, we have ourselves winners final to deal with as the Shakram and Roasters come out once again. And Riffer is having a not so great start here. Siki and Cracker at their disposal, as is normally the case. But so far, Alistair is not giving them a chance to get into this matchup. Already, almost at the halfway mark, finally gets a Siki hit to try and buffer, to try and slow Alistair down just a little bit. But what a lightning start that was from Alistair. Shakram and Siki's going to miss their relative exchanges at this point in time as Alistair zooms on in. 325 damage and a long range grab to boot. An extra 150 just to make things sweeter. And that was just unbelievable from Alistair. Alistair is on set point. That went by in the blink of an eye. I don't think any of us expected to see that, especially when we've seen Riffer win time and time again on Ninja College. You take Riffer to Ninja College, he takes you back to school. But Riffer did not have an answer at all for what Alistair had on show there. And now the rush will come out. The Siki has been dropped. They will break the shield at the very least, but Riffer with that Cracker and the Coolerang will keep that middle ground, that slight high ground advantage. It's pretty much level with Coil when they start floating, and the rush will come out chip damage and nothing more than that. So Riffer at least has themselves back, get themselves back into this equation. Arm weak on the left hand side. They know full well they cannot afford to take too much pressure from that Coil, and finally gets them down with a combination of that Cracker and the Coolerang. But again, that's going to be another shield break for Alistair. Damage limitations at this stage as the Red Mask again coming on out, giving Riffer that little bit of extra firepower, and Alistair is just stuck in the corner at the moment. Riffer coming back with an absolute vengeance, and now it's Alistair who's going to force the shield break. That's 100 damage to their name. They're very close on the health mark. And arm weak again on that right hand side. Alistair will take the incentive, gets themselves a Shakram hit, gets themselves another Shakram hit. Finally pegged on down by Riffer, who has the mask and the rush set and ready to go. Alistair into critical, 13 seconds to go. And finally, the 1-2 combo from Riffer put themselves back into contention. They can force the reset. No, reset's not grand finals yet. They can force a match 5, but Alistair is determined to win their second set point. The Tri-Bolts again come flying on out as Riffer has the time to just wait for the yellow totem and finally equip that mask. It will give them that rush advantage when it comes round to it, and Alistair again rushes into it. Alistair, you gotta stop rushing when Riffer's got the mask on. It's just not going to help your cause. But it does mean that it actually gives themselves a much better advantage here. It actually means they've gone ahead and gotten a couple free hits and a grab in there. And another roaster as Riffer tries to come all the way back up the ramp. And actually, Alistair is keeping this beautifully. Finally, it has been turned around and Riffer has the high ground. But they're already into critical. And Alistair already has a rush. This could be game, set, and match right here and now. And I think Riffer well, that's it. That's it. Alistair has beaten Riffer! Riffer has been bested by Alistair, 3 points to 1. And Alistair, for the second Challenge Cup in a row, is going to make it into Grand Finals. And puts themselves in the most ideal position to maybe make history and add a new name to the Challenge Cup. Don't get too excited just yet. Anything can still happen. But Alistair has put themselves where they need to be. They've won winners final. They've taken out Riffa, the reigning champion. And what an interesting grand final we're going to see here. Well, take a deep breath, my friends. There's no telling how these next few matches are going to go. But it will now be down into the underground bracket. We are into the top 4. One of our next players are going to make it into top 3. Make it to a podium position. And ironically enough, another chance at history, maybe. Because it will be Yam to go up against Raz, aka Tuesday. Yam, consistent player. See them on the podium good number of times. Tuesday, however, yet to do so. We could have another name added to the history books today. And it is going to be another best of 3 matchup. And remember, when this happened earlier today, it was a 2-1 against 2-1 in Yam's favor. And Yam will be determined to make sure it does happen again. It stays like that. Nothing goes wrong with them. But we also know full well that in any competitive situation, in any tournament, in any kind of competitive environment, anything can happen. The winner of this match not just makes it into top 3, but then it has to go on to face off against Riffa. Tuesday is set and ready to go. Your caster here is set and ready to go. If you want to follow along at home, explanation bracket, you can see that. Thank you very much, Riffa. And here we go. Tuesday will be on the left-hand side of your screen. Twintel is the name. Lollipop on the right-hand side of your screen. Coming in with Lollipop. So no Ribbon Gold Dittos this time around. It is going to be Twintel versus Lola. Coolerang and the Roaster going up against the Triblast and the Scorpia. And for the first time today, we are going to see Mausoleum make an appearance. Which means we've seen all 7 stages. And now competitive, would you believe it? And it's going to be a straight exchange between the two. But it is Yam who starts off the stronger of the two. Immediately pegging Tuesday down for the time being. Who is going to be, well, does have the rush online. But then again, so too does Yam. And that Scorpio just taking such a nice little nibble out of Tuesday. Nothing that they could do about it. And another series of explosions later. And Yam comfortably takes the first point. Not going to give Tuesday the chance to get into this matchup like they did in the first round when they played earlier today. Scorpio again, just frisbees on in. The Scorpion has 2 modes of attack. If you're on the ground, it skulls along like a Scorpion. Pretty much why it's called that. In the air, however, it becomes pretty much a frisbee. You can see that nice little spinning disc. Still carrying that poison. You can stack up to 3. Really stagger and stutter your character in the process, so you really don't want to get hurt by it at all. And obviously the Tri-Blast, those horizontal explosive goodness again. Manages to peg Tuesday down just a little bit, gets tagged by the wind, but comes back in with a rush of their own, and Yam just beautifully does it. 350 damage, that's a 2-stack, that's an 80, and that is emphatic. Yam taking that first point. And leads the set by 1-0 as a result. Yam is not messing around. Not in the slightest. Not at all. Underground semi-final might be going a lot quicker than it did in round 1. And you feel like Yam is getting that momentum back. It was incredibly close between these two in the first match. It was the opening match of the stream. But Yam has had enough time to figure out what they want to do, and Tuesday is going to come out with a coil. We have seen Tuesday play Ribbon Girl. We've seen them play Twintel, but it did not work for them. Now they're bringing in a coil. I have no idea what to expect here, and Yam knows full well that they need to make sure that Tuesday stays out of that sky as much as possible. That bouncy nature of Lola can just get that shield up when you least expect it, and so far is keeping Coil at bay. And in fact, Tuesday just has not had a single hit on Yam so far. I say that, knowing full well that that Toaster can and will do exactly that. Alongside the Hydras with all firepower loadout for Tuesday. Yam keeping that Scorpia and the Tri-Blast. Again, another grab attempt just missing on this occasion. Both have Rush set and ready to go, so it's only a matter of time before somebody blinks and goes for it. And it's going to be Yam who goes for it first and gets all of it. 380 damage with a double poison stack to boot. One more hit from anything will do it for them. And that's exactly what will happen. Yam, again, just comfortably holding on to that. And they're already on set point. And again, immediately, we're going to see, well, what is essentially triple nade from Tuesday. All explosive goodness, so it basically means whenever Tuesday charges on up, it will always be a nade that will come at you. And unfortunately, that rush is not going to get any kind of purchase. Yam denies it again. And the Tri-Blast just continues to peg Tuesday down already at the halfway mark. And Yam, with so much confidence, finally does get slowed down by the grab from Coil. He tries to go in for another one. Again, it's just Tri-Blast hit after Tri-Blast hit. Even if they're not charged, it's doing the damage. It's already got Tuesday on the cusp of critical. And Yam knows full well they can probably KO from this position. Rush set and ready to go. Tuesday into critical. And, well, that is probably going to be it. In fact, yep, Tuesday has indeed waved the flag. And that is that. Yam went for a very cagey and very tight 2-1 match against Tuesday earlier to win comfortably by 2-0 in the end. It will not be a first time on the podium for Tuesday. It will indeed be another top 3 appearance for Yam. As we move swiftly on then. It's the underground final. Wow. Yam versus Ritha. It is best of 5s from here on out. The 7th time in a row winner. Going up against Yam, who's trying to book their ticket into the grand final. Yam has not been in a grand final since the 39th entry of this cup. Like, let that sink in. 34 cups it has been since Yam has been in a grand final. Meanwhile, Ritha was in it yesterday. Pretty much. You pretty much get the general idea of this entire thing. It's how impressive Ritha has been as of late. But we are ready to go. The first match of our Underground final is underway. Yam on the left-hand side of your screen. Back in with Lollipop. The Sparky alongside that Tri-Blast this time round. Meanwhile, Riffa keeping with Masango. Blue Mask, well, was equipped for the moment, but immediately wrestled away. As they come in with the Cracker and the Siki. They've pretty much been playing with that all day today. Proving the point that they can win with anything that they want to. The Gold Mask is already on. And that will give them Rush at the same time as Yamin. In fact, with that Siki on hand, just keeps that shock factor on hand. Goes in with the Rush, pops in with the Cracker, but nothing else with that. Just chip damage and nothing more. And Yam just waddling their way back up onto the platform again. Pretty much really the only character that can really deploy their shield and continue moving with it. Just see the little legs just waddle on it in their inflated state. And speaking of inflation, that is 355 damage that is blown up into Riffa's face. And in fact, they are a punch away from going down here. Pretty much anything will wrestle this point right away from Riffa. They'll have that yellow mask on once again to try and charge up that rush. And they have it set and ready to go. Okay, scratch what I said last time round. Now they are 1 point away from going down. 20 seconds left on the clock. Yam does have the health lead here. And Riffa knows if they want to get the KO with the rush, they have to land the Siki twice. But they're not going to get the chance to do so. As finally, the Sparky comes through. And takes the initiative for Yam. Both of our combatants with rush set and ready to go. And it's going to be Riffa who goes in first. And Yam comfortably steps to the side, deploys a rush of their own, and takes all of the damage onto Riffa. And off to a very good start here for Yam. Finally does get taken down by the Cracker. Now the speed boost has been applied. Misango gonna go fast. Again, manages to jump up, gets the Cracker, sends Yam down onto the floor for the time being, but a quick little 1-2 combination. This is what is always key to see. If the Siki can get something, it's generally going to be an instant knockdown, as the Cracker is generally not too far away, but the same can be said of the Spark and the Tri-Blast. They are pretty quick arms of their own accord, so as long as one can hit, chances are the other will not be too far behind it. With 50 seconds left to go, both with Rush ready and available. But it's Riffa who's taken the most damage, and they know full well, oh goodness me, that was a big time blast from the Siki, and a grab to boot as well. Keeps this match in their favor. And they know they're looking for a couple more hits. That puts Yam in KO range if they want to go for it. And just consistently tagging them at this stage, just grazing the arm, and it's just enough to send Yam back on down. Riffa has control. 20 seconds left on the clock, and Yam knows they can't really do anything until that rush is gone. And it's gone like that. The Tri-Blast lands not once but twice. In fact, 3 times in a row for Yam. Yam has lead, goes for the rush, scores the KO, and that gives them the point. The first point in this set. What a volley from Yam. Clip that, please. That was patiently calculated, and Yam deserved that. Beautifully well done. That is why we call that section of that stage the Hot Pocket. Riffa could not handle that heat, and Yam gets the better of the champion. And in 2 sets in a row, Riffa will concede the first point. Weird saying that. That is the step up that these players have done. They have had week after week after week to try and practice, to try and catch up to what Riffa is doing. It's like Chaos 2 in Robot Wars. They win 2 seasons in a row, and finally people are starting to catch back up and realize that yes, we can exploit what they do. It's the same thing. After 7 events in a row, there's only so much Riffa can continue to do, but he still does it anyway because he's Riffa and it's what he does best. Another 160 damage with the grab, puts themselves in control for the time being in the early stages of our second match of the totem. Keeps the shield up as well as Yam quickly give themselves a little bit of distance. The Cracker and the Siki remain for Riffa as the Scorpio comes out alongside the Sparky. In our wonderful big old stage of DNA Labs, the rush will come out and unfortunately catch Yam by surprise. 340 damage from the Seiki Blast alone, and that has already sent Yam into critical position as Riffa maintains a massive health lead. And this is what I mean about that previous statement. Riffa will continue to do what he does best, because even when you think you know how to exploit it, Riffa finds a way to still maintain just that little bit of advantage. And it's Yam who's practically a punch away from going down, and they know it. They've got all of the work to do here, but a nice sparky shock like that very much keeps this intact for them. And with 20 seconds to go, Riffa needs to be extremely careful here. Goes for the rush, actually gets it denied. Yam has a chance, no! Oh, just a little too aggressive there, Yam, and Riffa again just punishes with the cracker. It's just such a quick, deadly arm. Never underestimate the speed that thing can come at you. And Riffa breathes a sigh of relief. They'll take that point in the end, but another shock from Yam is going to keep them on their toes into another grab. And Yam does have rush advantage, so it's really just a case of when they decide they want to deploy it, or if they're going to allow Riffa to get their rush back up as well before anything else happens. Tries to go for the grab, but Riffa again just jumps to the right hand side. Another quick knockdown with the cracker, and that is the dangerous thing about going up close against Riffa's Masango. That cracker is generally on hand to just immediately ruin your day the second you allow yourself to think that Riffa's not going to land that hit. And the Seiki manages to land 200 damage at the very least. And Yam goes for the rush, but it's not going to prevent, not going to go to anything. Chip damage and nothing more. The trade happens, but thankfully Yam was too far back for Riffa to do anything about it this time around. Both on level health, but it's going to be Riffa who has the advantage going in to the final 30 seconds. Another tube drops down onto the floor into pieces. And Riffa with the extra firepower is going to have that rush up and ready to go sooner rather than later. And there it is, Red Mask deployed as well for extra damage. And Yam knows full well this is looking like it's going to be another one apiece set for Riffa to take into the next round. Rush will come out as well. And Yam bounces around, nothing that they can do about it. 6 seconds on the clock. Riffa has the health lead. Yam knows full well there's nothing they can do about it. They can grab and do an extra 150 damage, but that is all they can do. They won't be able to wrestle control back. And with that, it is one apiece. So, match number 3 cometh. Whatever happens, we will see 4 matches between these two in this best of 5 set. Remember that Alistair awaits in the grand final as we move into sparring ring. Le Champion Riffa conceded the first point, manages to equalize the set just like they did in the winners final against Alistair. Yam will be determined to use the closed quarters of the sparring ring to their advantage, but it's going to be Riffa who makes the better start of the two, immediately gets that mask equipped and ready to go. So a lot more hot damage coming Yam's way. And it's Riffa off to a flying start. A little bit of a rush charge and quickly drops the totem immediately. And look at how consistent Riffa is. The Popper and the Sparky is coming out for Yam, but it's not having anything going for them against Riffa at the moment, who is just consistently chaining these in. And Yam has not been able to land a successful hit in the slightest. Finally, they do so. Not going to give Riffa the perfect on this occasion, but pretty much one more hit will do it for Riffa. They know full well they can pretty much take anything that Yam throws at them, and that was a very dominant display for Riffa. Riffa excelling just that little bit more with no gimmicks to worry them in the slightest. It's just a straight up boxing match, and Riffa finally gets pegged down, but that previous encounter was just unbelievable from Riffa, just hit after hit. Nothing that Yam could really do about it. It was consistently stuck in a corner, and nothing that they could do to stop themselves from going down to the onslaught that Riffa was coming up with. And another solid rush as well, 335 damage, pretty much halving Yam's health already. And again, just keeping that totem up. Yam trying to figure out what to do next. Finally begins to reel on in, but just a little odd popper hit here and there. But it's Riffa who's doing way more damage with that cracker, especially when it's charged up as well. And it's too hot, it's a little bit too spicy for Lola to handle. Or is it? Finally starting to peg that right back, but again, another grab will quickly rob Yam of any momentum they were thinking about building already into critical. And Riffa knows it's only a matter of time before they take the lead of this set by 2 points to 1. 30 seconds left on the clock. Yam is doing everything they can to keep Riffa at bay, but that Coolerang keeps swinging around. If it's not the crack of landing a direct hit, it's the Coolerang that just comes sweeping around. Finally gets a hit with the popper, but boy howdy, it's a long way back for Yam. The cracker does land, and Riffa takes themselves into the lead of this set by 2 points to 1. Same bands, same stage is the message from Discord, so Riffa's not going to change anything. Yam comes back in, but does switch the character. Gone is the Lollipop. In comes Ribbon Girl. And we saw from earlier the firepower that Yam brings to the table with this. It's an all-hot loadout. Toaster and the slap. But it's going to be Riffa who immediately goes straight up in Yam's face. And this is why we talk about Riffa the way he is as the champion. He adapts to everything that is thrown to him. Look how he's immediately gone in with the aggressive playstyle onto their side of the field. They know full well they do not want Ribbon Girl to start doing any kind of their agility move and shenanigans and ending the timer on 69. That is a KO almost immediately. And it is set point for Riffa, who is taking no prisoners here today. They want to make it 8 grand finals in a row. Finally they get tagged by the Toaster, but will that be the only bit of damage that Yam will do? The answer is no, it is not. In fact, that is 3 hits in a row now for Yam. And just like that, Riffa's health is actually starting to go backwards that a little bit quicker. Another hit. Really good exchange and a grab from Yam, and suddenly this absolutely changed completely how this match was going. Riffa finally manages to slow the momentum down. A good couple series of 1-2 hits of their own, but boy howdy, that changed things rapidly. Riffa is already on the cusp of critical, and Yam is saying no, I am not going down right here and now. Another successful grab sends Riffa into critical. A wake-up punch as well puts Riffa on 1 hit away from being taken down, but Yam is also now on the cusp of critical. Goes for the rush. Riffa will shield it, and Yam knows they're going to have to do something special now. They have to land 1 more hit and not get caught by Riffa's rush, which you just know is going to be imminent. And here it comes, but the cracker hits! Riffa must have thought he had that KO in the bag, but the cracker outspeeds him just in the nick of time, and Yam survives for another point. The matchup continues. Cracker and Coolerang versus Cracker and Toaster, as Yam is doing everything to keep their dreams of a grand final appearance alive. Like I said, it's been over 30 cups since Yam has been in the grand final. This is how much they want it. A grab wrestles the red mask away from Misanga for the time being. Gives themselves rush advantage in the process. Riffa, knowing full well they'll likely pop that gold mask on when they can have a chance to do so. Red is going to happen up as a totem. There is the totem. There is the gold mask. It's not been equipped just yet. But Riffa just keeping the onslaught going. Not giving Yam a chance to really get themselves into a position to catch Riffa off guard. Now more than ever, Yam needs to be able to find a way of hitting this rush. But they've got to demask Riffa first. They do so. Can they follow it with anything? They can't, because another 1-2 stab from Riffa takes it away from them. And the gold mask intimidation factor comes up yet again. So Yam has to find a way of demasking first, but unfortunately they're into critical, and it gives Riffa the advantage. A chill hit from both, but you've rushed into him. Why do people keep rushing against the yellow mask equipped Misango? It never works for you. And Riffa will take the point. 3-1. Yam will not make it into the grand final yet again. And it is going to be Riffa who makes it 8 grand final appearances in a row. And it will be a rematch between Le Champion Riffa and Alistair. Commiserations to Yam. They fought extremely well. They gave us one heck of a show. But unfortunately, once again, it is Riffa who proves the superior player. And as a result, it will be the reigning champion, Riffa, the revolutionary Riffa. To go up against Alistair. And remember where we currently are at this stage. Riffa comes up via the underground bracket. Alistair comes up via the winners bracket. They haven't conceded a set yet. So, a chance at history in the making. For Riffa to win 8 in a row, he has to beat Alistair in not just one best of 5 set, but 2 best of 5 sets. For Alistair to make history, to add a new name to the winners collection, all they have to do is beat Riffa in one best of 5 set. It is as simple as that. The stakes are high. They genuinely could not be any higher. The last time we had a brand new name added to the winner's circle was the 46 Cup. That was Junior. Since then, it's all been existing names. Will it go the same way as it always has done? Or will Alistair finally buck the trend? The grand final is underway and Alistair is off to a flying start with the coil, Tribolt and the roaster at their disposal. Riffa meanwhile with the Coolerang and the Cracker, caught by the grab, sent through one of the pillars on their home turf, and immediately having to contest a rush from Alistair, who knows no mercy. They are on a mission to make history. 285 damage with the rush already as they zip on in with a Tribolt hit or two. Unfortunately missing this time around. The Coolerang will find their mark. With Riffa they have rush advantage, but they're already one hit away from going down, and they try to go for it. They hit the boomerang, but unfortunately Coil hit him just as they went down as well. The roaster somehow hit, and Alistair starts with the initiative, but can they keep it going? That will be the question that will be asked of them right here and right now. Gold mask equipped. It will be the rush again coming on out. Riffa was uncontested on that one. but thankfully did not get caught by the final hit, so Alistair doesn't get the extra bit of damage they were looking for, but still, it's a good start, and another 1-2 chain takes that mask away from Riffa, but again, the damage kind of has been done. They've charged up that rush and are set and ready to go. Another stun comes out, but Riffa shrugs it off and fires on in with 380 damage. Switching out into that Tsuki was a very good move for them, and it's putting that pressure straight back onto our floaty coil, who comes on in with, well, I say comes in with the rush. They don't come in with it just yet. They have the rush set and ready to go. Now they do. Punches through the totem. 285 damage puts Riffa on the cusp of critical. But this can all still change here. The red mask comes on. Again, shrugging that little hit off. But again, another quick, solid tri-bolt hit. Having to block through the Tsuki. And just about hits with the roaster before the Tsuki can find its mark. Can Riffa get the rush up and ready to go before Alistair can get the KO? The answer is yes. But will Alistair get the win with the rush regardless? The answer is also yes. A 2-0 encounter for Alistair gives them the first point. And for the third set in a row for Riffa, they concede the first point. Alistair has taken the initiative. They've taken the first point. But can they take 2 more? We are going to find out. Riffa says, okay, you want this? We do this the hard way. Back to Ninja College we go. And in comes Ninjara. Misango lost at their home turf. Will Ninjara suffer the same fate? We are going to find out. Tri-Blast and Ice Dragon versus Shakram and Tri-Bolt. And immediately gets tagged by the Tri-Bolt right at the start. The Ice Dragon will rob Coil of their abilities and immediately comes in with a quick 1-2 chain. We know full well that Ninjara is Riffa's main. Misango is pretty much been that character who always comes up for Riffa, but when push comes to shove, you know Ninjara will just resurface to prove once and for all why he is the champion and why you never ever forget the ninja. But it is going to be big time damage early on, 260 damage. It keeps Alistair alive in this confrontation, but it is Riffa with the health lead, goes for the rush, and shield just about up, but the arm will break on the left hand side. Crucially, the dragon comes up, gets themselves a tag, and the grab to boot, and Riffa will keep that lead. The bolts will land and explode, and Riffa takes the first point in this, our second match in Grand Finals. But can they take the second and tie this set up once again for the third set in a row? Well, it's only a matter of time. Alistair again coming on in with the roaster and that Shaq Ram. And again goes for the rush, but the dragon beats them to it. The dragon is gonna actually fire first. Alistair timed that just a little wrong. And Riffa is going to take full advantage of that rush of their own. It's going to come out, but they will not force a break this time round. And Alistair with the wherewithal to fling the roaster out before the dragon can get going and finally start to close this gap and give Riffa an incredibly hard time trying to pin them in the corner. But finally, Riffa gets the tri-bolt hit. And it will be the rush that comes out. Riffa immediately gets the heck away, and they know they had to anywhere else. And that would have been incredibly bad for them. And actually, Alistair is coming right back into this confrontation. Yes, they're giving Riffa the range, but crucially, Alistair doesn't mind just throwing out these punches as long as they can beat the dragon to the punch and keep Riffa on their toes. They'll absolutely keep control of this, and they have the high ground. Chakram will hit, forces Riffa to stun a little bit, but the rush is going to come out. 270 damage. Forces Alistair actually to go all the way into critical. Alistair is too far away to get anything with that rush, and with 15 seconds left on the clock, a stray roaster hit will at least give Alistair some kind of comfort, but Riffa knows that they can still find a way through. The tribal has to be punched through. The dragon is shielded. 3 seconds left on the clock. Alistair will get grabbed. Is it enough for Riffa? It is enough for Riffa. Riffa wins it. Looking at that health, you could never tell. Holy damn. The game thought about it. You could see the game thought about it for a couple of seconds, but it decides there was just enough in it for Riffa. It is 1 apiece between these two. And for the 3rd set in a row, Riffa not only concedes the first point in the set, but wins the follow-up to tie the setup 1 apiece. Goodness me. Wow. And so, here we go. 1 apiece between these two. And for some reason, and I don't know why, but Alistair has chosen to go back to Ninja College. I do not understand why, but Alistair must have their reasons, and Riffa has switched back to Misango. So what is happening here? Alistair believes that they can beat Riffa on this stage, and Riffa believes that they can do it without Ninjara. Well, we are going to find out as they both hop on back into Ninja College. Riffa with the Misango, Cracker and the Siki. Meanwhile, Alistair fires on in with the Roaster alongside that Chakram, and another quick little punch straight into Riffa's face. And we are going to see a quick little turn of play, as it's going to be Riffa on the back foot in the other stages, but a quick little Siki hit will change that almost immediately. And a follow-up one as well means they are both straight back level, and both with rush set and ready to go. Riffa with the golden mask on, pretty much meaning they will win out this rush exchange if the mask is still equipped. So we'll see how Alistair chooses to play this. Another stray Cracker just going to whiz past Alistair's face. As it stands, Riffa maintains the high ground, but it now starts to circle the other way, and a stun into the rush is exactly what Alistair needed. 365 damage, and it is going to be Riffa who finds themselves in critical already. Shields through the first Siki, but unfortunately the grab is just too close for them. But Alistair knows they need one more punch, if anything, to try and take the initiative away. They managed to get it with the Chakram, but they weren't able to get the KO. Riffa goes for the rush, but it's going to be chip damage and nothing more than that. 14, 13 seconds, the time ticks on down, and Alistair finally finds the stray Roaster hit. This is about as close as you can have it. Alistair is determined to beat Riffa at Ninja College, but it's going to be a Cracker hit that pegs Alistair down for the time being. Goes for the rush, but Riffa is too far back to take any full advantage of that. But again, this is Coil. They'll charge up that rush as quickly as you can think. Riffa with the blue mask up gives them that little extra speed boost. Misango fast. But unfortunately, you're going to get pegged down not once, but twice. This time round with feeling. And a stun as well from Alistair. Couldn't quite get the grab or an additional punch to really take Riffa down there. But a grab will most certainly do it. And it puts Riffa in a very dangerous position. Double Chakrams find their mark. Riffa into critical. Here comes the rush. Here comes the KO. And Alistair is 2-1 up in Grand Finals. They were 2-1 up in Winners Final. They're 2-1 up in Grands now. Can it be? Will it be? Never ever think that anything is as straightforward, because it just isn't. It never is. It never goes the way you think it will. 27 cups it has been since a new winner has been announced. A brand new name onto the winner's circle. Alistair is determined to finally make it so. But it's anyone's game still. It is 2-1 in Alistair's favour. This next match is crucial. For Riffa, they have to win it to stay in. We go back to Ninja College for the 3rd time in a row. Riffa won here with Ninjara, but lost with Misango. They know full well they have to win it with Ninjara again, or Alistair will do the unthinkable. Tri-Blast and Ice Dragon versus Shakram and Roaster. And the grab is gonna be the first thing to connect in this matchup. Unbelievable start to this match, as the Roaster also finds a hit. It wasn't charged, so it doesn't do the full damage, and as a result, Riffa quickly tags on back, and they have the range to set up the dragon not once, not twice, but thrice. And Alistair has no answer for it whatsoever. And Alistair already finds themselves past the halfway mark, goes in for the rush, and Riffa is not going to take any damage from it whatsoever. Just Ninjara on Ninja College is just too much, it seems. And Alistair double backs all the way down into the corner, lets themselves have a little bit of a breather, and again finds themselves in critical condition. And Ninjara is always such a tricky opponent to go up against. They don't block things the way that everybody else does. If it hits and they have the shield up, they immediately teleport to whichever side Riffa really wants to. And that is why it's so hard to try and pin them down, especially for a consistent rush. And Alistair, realizing they've got it all to do, tries to go for a second rush, but the Tri-Blast is going to stop them almost immediately. And the follow-up Tri-Blast is going to give Riffa the point that they need. And the incentive that they know they can absolutely tie this set to a piece. It will not go the same way as it did in Winners Final. Riffa wants to continue to be King of Europe. And this is how they do it. Rush will come out and Alistair will get the shield up this time round. Nothing more but chip damage. The dragon is at least going to rob Coil of the abilities, but not going to get the follow grab this time round. Alistair will deny it. He finally gets a wayward bolt hit of their own, caught by the explosion and sent back to the bottom of the hill, tagged again with another volley of explosions. And again, you just sense this feeling that Riffa is not going down in this stage. It's just not gonna happen. The rush is gonna come out, but already Riffa just snakes all the way around. A full 180 almost around Alistair. And almost immediately has rush straight ready to go. Another bolt will at least find its mark. And Alistair, despite that, is actually keeping their health lead on their side. They're doing everything possible to actually bring Riffa down. And they not only do they have the lead, Riffa may have a rush set and ready to go, but if Alistair can at least read it and get the shield up for it, they may get out of this, but they do! They got caught by the bolts, but it pushed them back and not into the air, and Alistair gets away with that by the skin of their teeth. They hit a charged Chakram, they go for the rush, but Riffa again just gets away with it, tagged by 30 at the end, and that damage could prove to be just enough for Alistair. 13 seconds on the clock, and a trade! It's a trade between the two! A trade that favors Alistair. It's championship point for Dr. Coil and Alistair. And they start off with a disarm on the Tri-Blast as well. An immediate punch straight up. They do not have... They cannot have much left between these two. The rush is up and ready to go for Alistair, but crucially, Riffa has been able to get away from Alistair's rushes time and time again in this matchup so far. Both with rush set and ready to go, and Riffa will know full well they cannot afford to get caught by Alistair at this stage of the game. Tri-Blast will find its mark. With just over a minute still left to play, the rush will come out. Finally catches up to Riffer, 140 damage. It puts Riffer past the halfway mark, and Alistair has a health lead and a half. 52 seconds on the clock. Riffer finally gets the rush. 350 damage, puts themselves somewhat level, but it is still Alistair's lead. Tagged again by the Triplast, not once, but twice. The dragon will not find the mark this time, but the explosion still does. Alistair drops into critical, but so too does Riffer. This is an incredibly close end to this matchup. The rush will come out. Can they catch Riffer on the back foot? The answer is no, they cannot. Riffer gets away with it, but caught by another bolt. The arm is weak on the left-hand side. Riffer is one hit away from going down, and they've got 15 seconds. It's over. It's over. Alistair has beaten the reigning champion. The 7-event streak is over. Riffer has been dethroned. Finally, the revolution comes to an end, and Alistair is your brand new Challenge Cup winner. An 11th name, a brand new name on the winners roster for the EU Arms Challenge Cup. Alistair wins! Do not scratch your eyes. You are really seeing the 7-cup streak end. It has ended. Riffer ravaged at college. Alistair accomplishes the feat that every arms competitor in the European scene has dreamt of. They have added their name to the Challenge Cup. For the first time in 27 events. A brand new winner. And boy, what a rate it has been. What a finish to today's session. Unfreaking believable. Alistair wins by 3 points to 1. There will not be a bracket reset today. There will not be any further action today. Alistair wins from Riffer, from Yam. Yam will stay as 3rd place for the 2nd week in a row. 7th week in a row. 7th fortnight in a you know what I mean. Yeah, the 2nd event in a row. Yam will finish in 2nd place. But Riffer, having won the cup in the 66th entry, has defended it all the way up until this point. It will not be a 26 cup for Riffer. It will be Alistair who finally breaks the glass ceiling. And they did it by doing the unthinkable, by beating Riffer at their preferred stage of Ninja College, both against Misango and against Ninjara. It went down to the wire, but we wouldn't have it any other way. A fantastic showing. And wow. Just wow. Well done to everyone involved. I hope you all enjoyed yourselves, because boy howdy. My first time casting back for a couple weeks now. That was exactly what was needed. Wow. So your official standings. Alistair wins from Riffer. From Yam in 3rd place. Tuesday just missing out on that top 3 position. Falling to Yam in Underground semi-final. They will finish in 4th place. We then go to Yoshi Bowser. Grimwood, who had to drop out after losing to Alistair early on in. And then we have Dr. Crit rounding out the 7 players for coming on in. You have all been fantastic from start to finish. Thank you so much for joining on in. A deep breath. A massive round of applause to everyone involved. But that is it for the 73rd installment of the EU Arms Challenge Cup. Take care of yourselves. And just one last time, just to ring this in. The Challenge Cup winners now look like this. Maxo, Frank, Sheddy, Junior, Replicant, Rafa, Grimwood, Yada, Iceman, Riffer, and Alistair. Feels weird saying that, doesn't it? Thank you all for watching. I've been your girl TK Layla. Look after yourselves, and hopefully we'll see you again in 2 weeks' time for another installment of the EU Arms Challenge Cup, where we will continue to stay fighting fit and fighting fresh for as long as physically possible. Goodbye, my friends.